For those of you who don't know me, my name is Tamara Cook. I'm the CEO of FSD Kenya. FSD Kenya, or Financial Sector Deepening, is all about creating value through inclusive finance here in Kenya. We're a market facilitator who works with public and private sector players to create value through finance for both Kenyan households and businesses, especially micro, small, and medium enterprises. I'd like to begin by acknowledging and thanking the leadership of this important event to work on the questionnaire for FinAccess. The Director General, KNBS, McDonald Obudo, the Director Research, CBK, Rafael Ochieno, the Director Macroeconomics and Statistics, Collins Omondi, and of course the Assistant Director Research, Daniel Talam. And it goes without saying that this event could not happen with all of the researchers from the important institutions who are here today. So I'd like to thank you for your active participation from the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, really the heart of data in Kenya and making sure that data gets into the hands of those who need it. The Central Bank of Kenya, who regulates the banking and payment system, critical factors for financial inclusion. The Kenya Deposit Insurance Corporation, who really serves to safeguard the hard-earned savings of Kenyans and Kenyan businesses. The Kenya Institute for Public Policy Research, who helps translate data and insights into important factors for public policymakers to consider. The Capital Markets Authority, who really ensures that capital is allocated responsibly and in ways that encourage inclusive growth here in Kenya. The Insurance Regulatory Authority, who helps Kenyans get the tools they need to manage risk. The SACCO Society's Regulatory Authority, who has oversight over this important SACCO sector, which is so highly valued from its members. And finally, I can't end without thanking my colleagues, Dr. Amri Kayer and Lukanya Mukunda. They have updated me on the progress this week, and I'm delighted to hear how the workshop is influencing the development and finalization of the questionnaire for FinAccess. FinAccess plays such an important part in Kenya's financial sector and has done so since it first started in 2005. Of course, there is the actual survey and the publication of the high-level results and figures and facts, which every financial sector player I've met has referenced in some conversation. It gets referenced in the media all the time. But more importantly, these numbers help us track our progress, especially on access and inclusion, which is a very important factor in moving forward. But more than just celebrating how far we've come on access, FinAccess has also pointed out how far we have to go. This most recent report that was done on FinAccess, Inclusive Finance, in the last report, really takes the data and brings out insights and looks at some of the new frameworks, for example, on financial health, looking at how Kenyans manage day-to-day, deal with risks, and invest in the future, and financial needs, how financial sector services are meeting the needs that Kenyan households and businesses have. And as I think about this report, I think that there were some important analysis that was done. For example, we've all heard a lot about debt stress, and as you may recall in the last one, sports betting was an issue. So that was one of the things that this report pointed out. I'll never forget the moment when I heard the update on FinAccess in relation to financial health, a topic that I am incredibly passionate about. And we had financial health metrics from the 2016 survey, and so we were looking forward to seeing how far we had progressed since then in 2019. But when the data came back, Kenyan households were doing worse, financial health not better, despite financial access having increased. And so I think the importance of the FinAccess survey isn't just tracking how many people have access, but really looking at what are they doing with that access, and is that access meeting their needs, not only to face challenges, but also to seize opportunities. FinAccess also serves as an incredible wealth of data that can be used in lots of other ways. One recent example, which I think is so important, is the market segmentation analysis that was done with several different partners to look at who's excluded or underreached, and what are the opportunities to get them more valuable services that will meet their needs. looking at businesses, looking at women, looking at youth, regional market farmers, etc. And I think it's just really scratching the surface of what we can do with this important FinAccess data. This year's FinAccess is probably even more important than any other, given the reality of COVID-19. We all know what has happened to the economy, to households, and to businesses due to this unprecedented pandemic situation. This survey will help us really see what's happening on the ground across all counties, across all regions, across all segments of the population. And I am hopeful that we will have some good news coming out of the survey. But I think the reality is that it will probably confirm some of the bad news that we've been hearing through our qualitative and quantitative research and the news and just talking to people over the last year. Importantly, not only will this survey give us a real ground truthing on COVID-19, but it's also adding some new metrics and some new ways of analyzing very important topics for Kenya. For example, building on the recent work with Kenya Bankers Association, Central Bank of Kenya, and us looking at how people with disabilities are being reached. Those questions will now be in this survey, and we can really look at how people with disabilities are intersecting with the financial sector and hopefully generate new ideas for how we can meet their needs in new and creative ways. I also think topics like affordable housing, which has always been a part of the survey, but may be able to be strengthened in this round. And then looking very importantly at the issues of climate change and environmental factors that also intersect with people's livelihoods, their businesses, and with the financial sector. And as Kenya is very committed to developing more green finance and greening the financial sector, I'm hopeful that the FinAccess survey will give us ideas on ways forward in that important work. I'd like to thank everybody for your feedback, not only during this workshop, but also in advance of this workshop to get this questionnaire right. Because if we don't get this questionnaire right, we won't get FinAccess right. And if we don't get FinAccess right, then the decision makers in the public and private sector may not have the tools they need to really take us to the next stage of development for Kenya's financial sector. Hopefully a financial sector that is much more inclusive than it is today. Finally, I'd like to thank all of you for your content contributions, but also for your financial contributions to this survey. Surveys are not free, but they are worth the investment. When you invest in helping this survey get off the ground and reach further and into the counties as it's doing this year, you are investing not only in a survey, but in Kenya, in the financial sector, and in the future for Kenyan households and Kenyan businesses. Well, as I said at the beginning, I really wish I could have been with you this week to discuss these important issues, but I'm glad that my colleagues were there representing FSD Kenya and the important work that we do and how much we use this survey to facilitate the development of an inclusive financial system in Kenya. Well, if I were with you, I'd be now reaching for my mask, putting it on, and getting ready to continue this important conversation on FinAccess, the questionnaire, and the future of inclusive finance in Kenya. But since I'm not with you, I hope that these short remarks will communicate our passion and our commitment to this work now and in the future. Thank you.